about some general goals and our main goal for Read It Forward Jacks. Read It Forward Jacks has been in place now for a while, since last year, the end of the school year, in which we are really trying to put a community focus around literacy and the importance of literacy for all aspects of our community and within the school district. So it's been led by the school district. However, today you're going to find out more about how we're trying to branch and bring in our partnership with the Early Learning Coalition and other providers as well around our community to really support literacy, because we all know that based on the research that if we don't catch our children early and if we don't have our children reading on grade level and proficient in our early years, then we're not going to be able to make the gains that we need to make across pre-K through grade 12 in terms of literacy skills for our kids. And so it's very, very important. And we all know, we're at the choir talking around literacy and the importance of it, and we know that it's so important for all of our subject areas and for our children to be successful in whatever they determine they're going to do in the future. Our superintendent has set a really wonderful goal for us through this process. We want to have all of our children over the next few years, which I'm sure he's going to speak to, of having all of our children in grade 3, 90% of them, to be reading on grade level all the time. Okay, that's our goal. And we believe if we can get there, then we will have laid the foundation that we really need to support all of our children. And we believe that we can't do it without our pre-K community. So it's not just K through 12, but it's pre-K, and even we haven't talked yet about 0 to 3 as well, and how we move forward to support our community and all of our families and all of our children so that they're all reading proficiently. So I'm going to turn it back over, and that's really the goal for Read It Forward Jacks. Thank you.
Next, Susan Mann has been the Executive Director of the Early Learning Coalition of Duval since its inception, in fact since 1999. She has a master's degree in education leadership from the University of North Florida and has served as the Executive Director of Big Brother, Big Sisters before coming to ELC of Duval. Susan is past chair of the Association of Early Learning Coalitions, as well as serving as the state's Early Learning Advisory Council. Please join me in welcoming Susan Mann.
This really is the choir. We are just so excited and delighted to look out today and to start this wonderful program and highlights and promotes reading for our community. We are just thrilled. I do want to thank our partners here that have come. Barbara Gubbin from the library. We have Becky Henderson from Episcopal Children's Services and her crew. Dr. Cosgrove from Florida Institute of Education. Ginger is here. Ginger from the Jacksonville Children's Commission. We just have wonderful partners in this community, so we thank you, along with, of course, the most important partners is our VPK providers, so we thank you for coming today. We've long been a proponent of and to advocate to work and improve early learning in our community. It's our mission, it's our responsibility, and it's our passion. It's exciting for the first time to have this partnership, because this partnership joins the 700 children that are in the voluntary pre-kindergarten program through the school system with the 10,000 plus children that are taking advantage of the voluntary pre-kindergarten throughout 400 plus child care centers, Head Start, family child care homes, and private schools in our community. So this is truly a wonderful partnership. We're getting our children ready to go to kindergarten, and we're getting them ready to start with the really important literacy skills. We know that getting them prepared really matters. The Read It Forward Jacks of VPK will work in VPK classrooms to promote reading with our children. Our teachers will be tracking the books they read, and they will be promoting a culture of reading in their programs, and so will the parents, because everybody knows parents are our children's first teacher, and that is the most important. So we are, in addition, getting all of our VPK parents to take reading logs and to track the books that they read at home with their children, and to support this reading initiative with their VPK children. And I think it's just a wonderful way for us to bring the whole community together, because we know that the single most important thing to learn how to read is having people just simply read to you. So it's a natural fit. Read It Forward Jacksonville is the next step for Jacksonville in building a community of readers. Early Learning Coalition, along with the VPK providers and all these partners that are here today and other partners that couldn't be with us today, do really wonderful work with our children, and we are just so proud to be a part to continue to make this initiative a success and make this work a success. Thank you.
Superintendent Pratt Daniels was named the superintendent of Duval County Public Schools in November of 2007. It's like it was just yesterday. He holds a master's degree in education from the University, probably not for you, bless your heart, from the University of North Florida, and a bachelor's degree from Georgia State University. He is completing a doctorate, in fact, in educational leadership from the University of Florida. How on earth does he have the time, right? Which he expects to finish this year. Please join me in welcoming the superintendent.
Thank you very much, Jennifer, and thanks for being here, for all the work that all of our media do. But Channel 4 is a great partner, and we appreciate so much you being here today. Kathy, for the work that you've done, all of our staff at DCPS, all of you, thank you for being here, first of all. And especially thank you to Susan and the Early Learning Coalition for them kind of taking the lead in this. They're certainly not the only partner, but they're a key person in terms of the coordination and organization of this effort. And as Kathy said, Read It Forward Jacks, while a lot of the work is within the school district, both with our pre-K through 12 in terms of equipping our teachers with a greater skill set, making sure that we are tracking and having more progress earlier, so by the time students reach 3rd grade, they're successful, and then continuing to build on those strengths with further development within the content areas as they go through, and vocabulary and comprehension skills become even more important, to the point where they are then ready not only to pass the college assessment so that they can go into college or other careers, because right now the blending of the two is there's no difference. If you're going on to a technical career, you need the same skills as college, so that they're ready for that, but not just ready to get into college or technical training, but to successfully complete it. And so what's critical for us as a community is to take on the responsibility from birth until they're fully completed whatever career path they're on, and then successfully doing that so they can then support their family and be a great citizen to our community. So we know we own a good bit of that in that middle area, but today is a recognition and a thank you and a kickoff for that early portion. And as Kathy said, we've got to get that early portion correct, because about 30%, depending on the measure, and one of the things we're working on is, which measure are we going to use consistently across the board, and is that the best one and the most rigorous one we need? So this is one of the things we're working on. About 30% are not ready when they come to kindergarten. About 30%, according to the way the FCAT was benchmarked last year, it'll probably be worse this year because it's getting more rigorous, are not ready in 3rd grade. That is, they have not met level 3. And about 30% of our students are not graduating on time in 12th. And it's the same 30%. Now, I'm not talking about to each individual student, but for the most part, if we can't get them ready by kindergarten, they're not, those are in many cases the ones who are not ready in 3rd and are not graduating. And while our graduation rate has gone up dramatically, you've heard that, gone up about 14% in the last 5 years, 4.5% alone just this past year, it still is not high enough. So the good news is we've made incredible progress. The bad news is we still have a long way to go. 71% is not enough. We have to get to 90%. The only way we're going to get to 90% is to have 90% proficient in 3rd grade in reading. And like Kathy, I came out of math science background. I taught mathematics. So we both understand the importance of those content areas, and particularly for STEM careers and so forth. And we're still going to emphasize that. But we also know that if students aren't reading well, they're not going to do well in math and science. They're not going to do well in anything that we expect from them if they're not great readers. And so if we're going to have 90% ready by 3rd grade in reading, we're going to have 90% ready coming into kindergarten. So that's the challenge. And I quite frankly think we're up to it. I always think that, you set out where you want to go and figure out how to get there, and along the way, you figure it out. I mean, we have the plans in place, but we also know we're going to have to work together to make sure that this comes to fruition. partnership between agencies and the city, and it'd be even broader than all the people here. Ultimately, as we said earlier, and I heard a couple of amens up here, we've got to get the parents involved, don't we? And get them committed. And some of those parents aren't great readers themselves. So how do we engage people who currently don't really feel successful in literacy themselves into helping, how can they support their child in an effective way? How can we make that very clear, very specific, and engage them so they can support these efforts? If nothing else, just to encourage and to make sure kids are reading. And as much as possible, read to them and be a part of this whole thing, so it truly is a citywide partnership. Again, I want to thank Susan for her leadership in building upon this Reader Forward Jacks campaign, and to encourage all of you as partners to join us in this mission as we improve our students' literacy and comprehension skills. One of the challenges that we have put before all of our students, and certainly all of the pre-K at the point at which they are actually able to read, is to spend 30 minutes at least, minimum, a day reading. If they're not yet readers, have spent 30 minutes a day with the parent reading to the child. Minimum. Turn off the TV, put up the Game Boy, and yes, pre-Kers do play games. Okay, they may not be able to read yet, but they can sure manipulate those. All right, so turn that off for a while, and it's really an enjoyable activity. It's a bonding experience with a child and a parent. And so I think we have to say that this isn't, now stop doing fun things, and now we have to go read. No, reading is fun. Reading is engaging. Reading opens up all kinds of pathways and adventures that we otherwise might not experience. And so how do we not just make sure students have the skills, but they have the will, they have the desire to read? This is one of our huge challenges when our students get into secondary area. Is simply getting them to read is one of the huge challenges. In fact, one of the things that we've seen recently with some of our intervened schools as we kind of continue to do this work and why aren't we getting there and so forth, is that the motivational part is more of a challenge than the skills part. If we look backwards, at some point along the way, they were making 3s and 4s on FCAT, but for some reason along the way, they just decided reading wasn't cool, they didn't like it, aren't doing it, aren't motivated by it, and aren't giving their best even on a test. And so how do we turn that around? We turn that around by starting early and building that success. So you're a part of that just by your presence today. It says you're excited about this, you're engaged with it, you're involved with it, you're willing to take on this challenge along with the school district to make sure that we get all of our students ready and all of our students successful. So thank you for all your presence and your being here today. Thank you to the pre-K providers for bringing your students. Thank you to Barbara Langley and the Schultz Center for hosting us today. The Schultz Center is a great location for a lot of our teacher and leadership work. And now it's my pleasure to read to a group of students. Now let me tell you how we're going to do this. Okay? First confession. I got new glasses over this winter break. And I used to be able to hold the book to the side and read it and show the pictures, It doesn't work very well anymore. I got progressive lenses instead of lipo. All right, so we have one book just to put on the thing, and the book I'm going to read from, yes, for those of you that got the book and opened it up and said, how in the world would anybody be able to read that unless they have very young eyes? Okay, well, I'm going to do it, and I have very old eyes. So if I can do it, everybody can do it. Okay, so everybody got one of these on the way in, and I'm going to read from this, and we're going to project the big one up on the screen. And so if I could have the young people come up here, and I'm going to sit so you can see the picture behind me, and all of you then also can see the picture. And I'm going to read our book, which is Olivia and the Missing Toy.